The clinic has been on my show a couple of times, but not in this light where the staff fighting one another. Well, yeah, we had one story, but it wasn't really, it was just words, not, but I don't know that this was even physical. I understand they just had a little, dispute, and the police had to be called. I'm gonna ask you, like Quincy is saying on my screen, stand together, united as one. All right? All right. Now, I got savage this week. That's because I, with my fast self, went to Governor's Harbor one day, and while I was down there on the dock in Governor's Harbor, I was in the area of the building where people do their customs things, not the customs building. I was in the area where they have the little tents, and I was also in the area where the people just go for the brokerage of services and all that other stuff. And while I was there, a gentleman came up to me. There was two of them, but he came to me and he said, TMI, you always talking about everything, but how you never talk about customs and this place? This where they be doing their distribution, this where they be serving us and all that stuff. And I said, no way. And he said, yes way. He said, you know how long this tent was like this? He said, for over 10 years, this was like this. He said, the first tent was donated by Damien Gomez. He said, hey, Shireen, how you doing, darling? All is well? I see you in Nassau bubbling. He said, the second tent was donated by Lord Byron's. He said Lord Byron's donated that second tent, because the first tent ain't got no tent. All of this is the iron sticking up on the ground. Ain't no tent there. It's just the iron, because the tent done gone a long time. And the other area was the other tent that was there, that the little smaller tent, is a tent that was donated by Lord Byron's. There was a customs officer there. There was these two gentlemen there, and I talked to them, and I asked a couple of questions, and they said, no, you always talk about everything. You need to talk about this. And so I immediately went online and I put up a video talking about this customs area. Now, some people say I was not clear in the video. I should have made it clear that I was talking about the distribution center at customs in Governor's Harbor, because they don't keep freight. Somebody say, oh, see customs office here. They don't keep freight in the customs office. They don't keep freight. They don't distribute the people freight there. They don't check them in the custom office. They check them under that tent. Where there should be a warehouse is where they check those freight. So when people have their freight and stuff checked, they check them in the trailers. They check them under that tent. They don't check them in the bloody well office. The customs officers have to work inside those tents. They don't work in the office. They can't check freight sitting in the office. They don't get to check freight sitting in air condition. They got to sit there behind under that bloody well tent to get to deal with the people. So my PLP friends come at me, running on with a bunch of crap and ragging my name, which I welcome. They even went as far as to say, that's why Shanta got rid of him. Well, if that's why Shanta got rid of him, good luck, Shanta. Shanta still owe me as a commissioner of police. I was working under her, and she still knows that they owe me $1,062. Why are you talking about Shanta, what Shanta do to me? You should tell Shanta, pay me my flipping money. That's what you need to do. $1,062. But I ain't going to go stick with that. Let's move on. The tent is the distribution center. No, it ain't no setup, Jackson. It's legit. It ain't no setup. It's legit. The tent is the distribution center. And that's what I should have said, because I just did a quick video. But the tent is the distribution center. Now, customs supposed to have a container port on Governor's Harbor for the amount of money that they make in Governor's Harbor. They should have a proper warehouse on Governor's Harbor dock. You understand what I'm saying to you? They don't want to acknowledge that. That conversation came up today inside the barber shop. And the lady said, no, he's right. Said, no, I don't know what he was saying, but it's a disgrace that they have the dock at Governor's Harbor like that, and customs officers got to serve you from under there. Because for a moment, I say, oh, wow, I did the wrong thing. I was thinking, like Jackson, they may have set me up. But I wasn't a setup. Because I saw what I saw, and I showed the Bahamas what I saw. Some jackass say, oh, you showed the Bahamas in the world. Yes, and what I showed the Bahamas in the world is actually true. Huh? Deny it. Go there and move it and deny it. Let me see if y'all can tote them bloody the tough or the people stuff or the trailers, put them in the office and serve the people or the air conditioned customs office on Governor's Harbor dock. And that building that they use even in theirs. That's not theirs. That's a rental. Argue with me now. Tell me I lie. Prove me wrong. Come for me. And customs makes more than enough money to have their own stuff. Y'all really want to have this conversation? Y'all really think y'all have this conversation with me? I ain't the one. Y'all can tell that. See, y'all believe. Y'all want me to put shell on myself and call myself a conk. That's what it is. Got to be. I must be as foolish as the other people who can't see sense. You understand what I'm saying to you? You should have a proper storage area at that dock. You should have a proper coverage, proper storage area for customs building, for customs, for people to get their supplies in a comfortable environment where the customs officer ain't got to be sitting under no bloody well tent, sweating their guts out, trying to serve people. Do you really want to have this conversation? I don't think you will have this conversation. All the money that Eleuthera is putting in to the government of the Bahamas, all of the money that Eleuthera is putting in through customs duties and customs fees, you gonna tell me now they don't deserve a proper storage area on the Governor's Harbor Cupid's Key dock? And when I mention it, because y'all have one broke down office with y'all renting, I am the problem? Y'all got to be at y'all flipping mind. Come for me. I ain't the one. Because listen to me. Nobody else might could talk. But I can talk. And I carry on by. Y'all don't want no part of me. None whatsoever. Come for me. The building is garbage. The video is up. 11,000 people can watch it. And more people can continue to watch it until you suckers do better. And for those who still kissing the PLP behind, because I didn't even knock the PLP. I literally said successive governments, PLP and FNM. That's what I said. I could see if I targeted the PLP in this dispute. I literally put this blame on both of their shoulders for their failure. Y'all really think y'all won't come for me? Y'all better get it together. Get it together, I say. All right? I can move on. Just my head hit me a little bit, and I done start raising my head up. Must be pressure getting high. I know it is. Anyhow. That's what I really need to take some pressure pills. Anyhow. You know what's interesting about that whole customs thing? These people... Jahez! Come here. These people were more than happy to jump on me about this customs thing. Carrying on about how I put the building out there and all that stuff and so forth and so on. And when Clay tell that big, bold-faced lie, Clay put out a flyer that said that the clinic in Palmetto Point, the new clinic, is completed. No gimmicks, just results. And not one of these lying, no good, empty mouth, whatless, gutless suckers said a single word to say, Clay, that ain't true. The clinic ain't do. There ain't nothing there. And nothing is still there. The foundation barely coming above the ground. Not a one of them come forward and say, Clay, you lie. And big flyer. The flyer ain't never come down. And not a one of them come forward and say, Clay, you're a liar from the pit of hell. Clay is a liar, and there's no truth in you. And Clay, if you ain't lied, then the person who made this flyer for you lied. Huh? You all want to talk about lying? Talk about that. He got on a public flyer. It was all about in the Lutra newspaper. The flyer is also in the Eleutherian newspaper. And I believe, because Clay ain't got no damn shame, it's probably still on his Facebook page, where he's saying the clinic is completed. And the clinic foundation ain't come out the ground good yet. Where y'all was? Liars. Y'all want to talk? Y'all really want to have this conversation with me? Okay. Come then. Bring it on. Bold-faced lie. No clinic done. The clinic staff still complaining. Say how Clay promised them 3 times, 4 times, how they can soon get clinic and nothing. And you don't think you don't want to have this conversation with me? Y'all think you want to have this conversation with me? You got a lying backside MP who got a whole flyer documenting what he said. Well, he got a flyer and I got a flipping video, and the people still only on the tent on the dock in Governor's Harbor, and the tent is there as proof. Who's the liar now? But I bet you ain't no clinic in Palmetto Point, except the building where they rent, somebody's house where they rent. Okay. Y'all gonna need to do better. And why are we talking about Clay? Down in South Andrews, Clay good friend Leon Lundy. And the people of South Andrews have homecoming next week. And they just today scrapping trying to get the homecoming site together. The homecoming site is garbage. And that's why South Andrews can miss Picewell Forbes. Because you know, when it comes to homecoming, Picewell used to make sure the money was there. Him and local government, Zebedee Roll and James Pratt and Nord Raman and Fairdale Smith. They got the funding together, and all of them was working together to get the homecoming site together. Now, big fat Leon Lundy can't even get his 2 hands together, let alone get the homecoming site together. So South Andrews is a disaster on homecoming next week. But hopefully, one of the things that I love about my South Andrews people, they know how to come together and get things done. So hopefully they'll get that fixed. Let's continue to pray for them. Hey, all right then. It is what it is. And while we're talking about that, we have another concern. Because I just talked about the shootings in Harper Island. We had a number of family murders. One in Acklands and one in Grand Bahama. Now, the murder in Grand Bahama was a stabbing incident where the young man stabbed his older brother. The older brother was able to go to the clinic to get some medical attention to the hospital, Rand Memorial. But persons are blaming Rand Memorial because they say Rand Memorial did not properly care for or properly evaluate the young man. And so the young man had to return to Rand Memorial 3 days later. And as a result, they tried to fix what they had messed up, and the young man still died. But of course, his death is attributed ultimately to the stabbing incident that resulted in him going to Rand Memorial in the first place. And so that's a sad situation in itself. And people are grieving over that. And then over in Acklands, we had a young man travel from Nassau over to Acklands. His dad, I understand, was sitting at the table, and from behind his dad's backs, he uses some sort of weapon and proceeds to behead his father and proceeds to mutilate his remains, and then enlisted his 14-year-old brother, I understand, to assist him in burying the remains of his father along some beach in Acklands. And so this is a difficult story that has come out of Acklands. We understand now that the young man was doing some counseling in Nassau with some pastor. We don't know who the pastor was. And we're told that he did actually tell the pastor that he was going to kill his father. We don't know how true this is. This is all rumored. Now, but it does raise a concern for us, because for a very long time, we've been using, even the courts use pastors as counselors in the Bahamas. And I don't know that that is a very good thing right now. Because I don't believe that everybody who is a pastor is qualified to be a counselor. Yes, some people could talk. Remember they had Randy Fraser doing some counseling, and next thing you know, he ain't stopped counseling until he counseled himself in that young gal panties. And so I don't know that you want to have these pastors as counselors. And then you have that whole situation going on that Brittany Harris and Omar Arch exposed involving Golden Gates. The information came out as a result of Dwight and Bristol and those. But the thing is, you don't want to. I don't know that we should still be depending on these pastors who are not qualified, not trained to be counselors of anybody. Because when that happens, then it can result in situations like what transpired in Acklands. That young man mutilated his father allegedly, and enlisted his 14-year-old brother allegedly to Carolyn. I give you the number in a minute. He enlisted his 14-year-old brother to help him to bury his father's remains on the beach, and that's a sad thing. It's time now for us to seriously give real consideration to engaging qualified counselors and persons for our communities to talk to, and it must be something that can be done free of charge, because the reality of the matter is we are risking too much when we are putting our young people's lives in the hands of unqualified people like these untrustworthy pastors. They're not trained in dealing with mental issues. They're not trained in dealing with situations that can turn chaotic, like that situation in Acklands. You understand? And I feel that situation bothered me so much because I'm a father. I'm a young father. You know, I little scared. Jay's a big boy. I scared to sit with my back to Jay's. Next thing you know, I turn around and don't even think about it. You understand what I'm saying to you? But imagine that there are young people going through such stuff, such situations in this country that they are at the point where they want to literally kill and mutilate their parents. Huh? DJ Energy Hepburn, thank you for the follow. So you understand that this is if it ain't bothering you, it's bothering me. It's stressing me out just thinking about it. And what makes it worse is if this young man did actually go to a pastor and the pastor did counsel him and this was the end result, then it's almost as if the situation is compounded because there's a failure of the system to properly guide him with these thoughts that he may have been having. You understand what I'm saying to you? No, we now have to give serious thought to what we can do about things like this, because we can't leave these things to chance. You understand what I'm saying to you? You know what it is for, and it hurt me with the 14-year-old. And let me tell you why. There are persons who say, "Oh, and his brother help him." Let me tell you where the crisis comes in with that for me. Can you imagine you in the house with your daddy? You a little younger than your brother. Your 20-something-year-old brother walks up behind your daddy and cuts his head off and starts mutilating him. What you could do as a younger brother, 14, if the 20-something-year-old brother tell you, come, let's go bury him. What you could do? You wouldn't fear for your life. You flicking, panicking. You ain't have no other choice because you scared your brother might turn on you and cut you up. You don't know what to do. Do you really think that the 14-year-old wanted to be a part of murdering his father? I seriously doubt that. But now he's at wit's end because this your relative. Daddy was the only was the you. First it was you, him, and Daddy. Now it's just you and him because he didn't kill Daddy. What do you do? What do you do when the person who committed the murder is the person you were supposed to be running to in the first place if there's an incident to protect you? What do you do as a child? immature. In this day and age, man, everybody watching, what that thing name? GT, what GT? J, what the thing name? GT something. But these children be, you understand what I'm saying to you? This is traumatic. Somebody said, yeah, you got to cooperate before you become the next victim. What do? You're a child. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's like, in the U.S., you have a lot of these kids who, they get involved with their friends and some murder or something go down and they go and help the person. But if the person got the gun, what you doing? Because it could be you. And so the U.S., when they investigate these things, they investigate to see how much opportunity the person who was coerced had to report the incident, and then they use that to determine whether they will charge that person as a co-conspirator in the tragic event. Because thank you very much, Nakaya. Yeah, because a lot of persons, when you're talking about these situations, are complying out of fear. They're afraid. You can imagine, I was a little boy, and my brother come from Nassau, big time Nassau, my big time brother, and we sitting on cashing in the house, and then one minute we sitting on cashing in the house, the next minute my brother cutting off that ear. What do you do? But this is where we are in this country. And if pastors are counseling people without qualification in situations like this, we have a problem. If we are still depending on them to resolve the situation, talk to our children for us, and they're qualified, if we still depending on them, knowing the stuff that we've been going through in this country, if we still dependent on them, knowing that our situation has become much more critical than it was 50 years ago, then we have a problem. Because in the 1980s, maybe a pastor could have talked, and even then, I don't know that was the best thing. In the 1990s, but this is now 2020. We can't be doing that. We need to make sure that the persons who are dealing with these situations are qualified to counsel persons. Make sure that they are on the up and up. Make sure that their character is credible. Make sure that they're worthy of the office that they that they hold or are seeking to perpetrate. But we cannot leave our children at risk like this. Because that could have very much been that 14-year-old's life as well. That could have been his life. It didn't have to just be daddy. It could have been daddy and brother. Only God. You understand what I'm saying to you? I mourn for that family. I mourn for that 14-year-old. And I even heard for the brother who perpetrated, because we don't know what was going on in his mind. And y'all know we're in trouble because we've been having a bunch of suicides lately. A suicide in South Andres? Do you know the last time we had a suicide in South Andres? I can tell you of 3, because I know about 3 suicides in South Andres. One was Elijah Smith. The other one was Dr. Swami's daughter. And finally, we had a young man today who took his own life in South Andres. You understand what I'm saying to you? These things generally don't happen in the Family Islands. But lately, we've been having almost a suicide a week. Or every 2 weeks, there's a suicide. And everybody is taking their own lives. The young, the old, the middle-aged, the black, white, it does not matter the color. Everybody is taking their lives. And so, be in trouble. And you can imagine that you depending on pastors. Some of them with no qualification. Some of them who even ain't got no God in them to counsel young men and young women in this country who are really going through hurt, who are dealing with substance abuse, who are dealing with mental situations, who are dealing with all of these things. Can you imagine that? Putting these precious lives in the hands of unqualified people? And who are unqualified, ungodly? We got to do better. We're spending money to travel and spending money to do all kinds of things. We need to spend money on mental health in this country. If we don't realize we're in a crisis by now, something is seriously and truly wrong. We got to do something. It is what it is. And we got to agitate our leaders, our political leaders, to prioritize these kind of things, because our children's and our family lives are in danger, because God forbid, how far are we from the next, because we deter them fighting on the school bus now like mad. How far are we away from those things that are happening in the US? How far are we away from those issues that they're facing? We're a small country, we can't handle it. Anyhow. And then we have a abuse and pedophile demon rampant in this country, destroying this country in and out. Our children are in trouble. This is why counseling is so critical, because our children are in trouble. Let me tell you, let me just list some of the cases that we had this week. We had a case where a man abused his niece 22 times. Okay? We had a case where a 52-year-old teacher in Exuma was accused of inappropriately touching 2 teenage girls. We had a case where a 59-year-old uncle was convicted of sodomizing his 10-year-old niece. We had a case where a father was remanded for messing with his young daughter from when she was 9 years old to now 11 years old. We had a case where a father got 5 years in prison for molesting his 3-year-old twin daughters. And it was his 16-year-old daughter who caught him. We are in trouble. And can you imagine that the victims of these incidents will also need counseling as well? And you sure you won't be putting these people in the hands of some unqualified pastor or preacher to talk, but to find out and counsel them and guide their life? You sure you want to do that? So we're dealing with it. And mind you, the majority of these cases are happening in Nassau and probably Grand Bahama. Imagine the cases that you're not hearing about in the Family Islands. And this is nothing new, because there were cases upon cases upon cases where persons got away with molesting children in the Family Islands. We had a story one time ago on one of those islands where the bus driver was molesting children from time. And he got away with it all the time because he was a PLP and his family was connected and he was the bus driver. And every time the case come up, the magistrate took long to go to these islands. You understand what I'm saying to you? So can you imagine that? This is only the tip of the iceberg. Can you imagine that? We have a problem. We have a serious crisis on our hands when it comes to our children, and we need to find a way to protect them. Find a way to guarantee their safety, and when the law is broken, find a way to punish the perpetrators so that they are deterred from making a mess of our children's lives. Thank you, Randall, for the roses. I appreciate you. We need to find a way. Even if it means we got to go back to cat o' nine tail, and even if it means we got to go up to castrating some people. Cut your things off. Well, they say they have this in the UK, I think it's chemically castrate. But we need to chemically castrate some people, because we're in trouble. You all hear the cases I listed now? This is a disaster. Our children, our homes are in trouble. And how can we forget a little girl last year who the pedophile sat out from by her school watching her every day, and the next thing we hear, she is murdered. So he didn't only sexually abuse her, he also murdered her. What we can do with these people and be sitting down here fattening these people, putting them in prison cell and keeping them fat and keeping them entertained. These suckers need not to be able to sit down in the system and get fat. We need, as a matter of fact, when it comes to molestation, where the case can absolutely be proven, we need to hang them. The Bible says, Jesus said, listen, if one lead these little children astray, tie him, he should have a millstone tied around his neck and throw that sucker in the sea. But we cannot be taking for granted these grown men, 52 years old, teacher, 59-year-old uncle, father of 3-year-old twins. How you feel? What we can do? When will we take a stand? When will enough be enough? The little girl last year, I thought enough was enough. Hold on. Oh, Jesus Christ. I got my TikTok. The little girl last year, I thought enough was enough. But you see here, and this is all in 1 week. All these cases I mentioned to you, all of these came up this week. All. Now, mind you, the situation with the father with the twins was a case from February, but they just doing the sentencing now. And the best thing they could do was think to give him 2.5 years a piece for each girl. 5 years. They should have given him the full 7 years for the daughter who had to witness him doing that mess to his children. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're in trouble. And then we have the story. Because every other day, first of all, we got these little girls going missing, creating a whole havoc in the system. So you got to deal with this. And then you got this, Donna Green, how you doing? Good to see you. We got these little girls going missing, just casually going missing. Just doing what they feel like doing. The other day they had one missing who get online and say they need to take her name down before she sue them. And so when I see the story of a mother who takes a baseball bat to her daughter and whop up her behind, and the court say, you know what? Because you trying to do some discipline, we can let you sign your own bill. I gotta stand with the court with that, because these little girls, some of them doing too much. And they ain't just little girls, some of these little boys doing too much. Because in the middle of real crisis, where we are dealing with real abuse cases, where we're dealing with real situations, we have some children being stinking, rude, and disgusting. But then part of it is also our problem, because there are some people who then set themselves up. Ain't nobody saying nothing to my child, and this, that, and other. And some person, oh, child, I know my mother bring me up here, and I ain't going through that. My children ain't going through that. But look what your children turning into. Huh? Well, this mother ain't play. She whop up her daughter with a baseball bat. Mama don't whop him with no bat no more. But get when Tamron, well, you know, Tamron switch and Rosa behind. But we are in serious trouble in this country. And we need to get it together. And we need to deal with, you know, in some of those foreign countries. I don't agree with how they deal with things, but do you know, if you are caught in the act of molesting a child, they kill you right there? This ain't no investigation. We gotta go. Once you are caught in the act, and they have sufficient witnesses to verify that this was what was happening, you dead. They kill you. You don't be no, oh, we gotta wonder, let's go find out if he was really molesting. You see the man on the child. Once they verify that's a child and you's a man, you dead. Yeah, it is. We taking this for light. Fellas will go get fancy lawyer and play with the children mind in the court and some win cases. Same time, the Pratt son win case with 2 girls who accused him. I could be wrong, but I think he should have been under the jail. That's just my thoughts. You understand what I'm saying to you? For the harrowing things that those children said happened to them, and the court still say, you know what? Even though they say that happened to them, he ain't do it. That was sort of concerning for me. But it is what it is. I'll say this to Cynthia Mother Pratt and her son. Brother and mother, God don't sleep and God don't slumber. You know what I'm saying? Because you could get away from the courts. And you might think you get away from that girl. But you will never get away from God. It is what it is. And politics don't matter to me. Y'all ain't never like me telling it like it is. If God can come for me, he can come for me. And listen, I sketch blows. I sketch blows because I deserve them. You molest 2 little girls, allegedly. And 2 little girls lie. The 2 of the girls decide they can go to court and say, you know what? We can just go to court and say that this man sodomized us. Anyhow. That's what, don't put me on no jury. Everybody go to jail. No, it needs some people to think some things true. But anyhow, it is what it is. Let's move on. So the longest serving president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, is seeking another term in office. I don't even know how many terms Belinda had in office. Belinda had so many terms in office that they've stopped counting. That's how many terms Belinda's had in office. Now the thing with it is, we have to admit that Belinda has been doing an awesome job representing her union. And so that in itself speaks volumes. She has done what she's supposed to do. As a matter of fact, if our candidates would represent their constituencies like that, they would deserve additional terms. Belinda Wilson has done her job representing the teachers. She has done a thorough job representing them. She is firm in her representation. She is passionate about it. And she gives the kind of representation that really should be happening in communities and constituencies with these members of parliament. That's the kind of representation we should be getting. Belinda Wilson is that kind of person. Now, that being said, there are some persons who want her to relinquish the reins of the Bahamas Union of Teachers for whatever reason. They have their reasons why they want her to relinquish it. And this is the system is still a democratic system. There are some things that I know that are not quite on the up and up with these type of systems, but you know, it is what it is. We can only hope for the best in terms of how this situation is managed. One of the things that does happen with these elections is that something that Stone McEwen talked about. The ballots are secret ballots. So when they vote in these elections for the BUT, the ballots and whatever unions, the ballots are secret ballots. We don't have secret ballots in general elections, which McEwen feels we should. And one time the courts actually ruled that the Bahamians should be voting on secret ballots where no political party could go and see how they vote to use it against them. But that was overturned that same day by Dame Joan Sawyer, who is now agitating about the immigration crisis in the country, allegedly. I don't about the overturn. I don't about the immigration crisis, because that voice note that I heard, I ain't sure that was James Jones. Sorry, but I can tell you about that later. But yeah. So, but Belinda wants to go again. And yeah, she is a good leader. Teachers love her, and she is passionate about representing them. She don't back when it comes to the government. No, and like how some union leaders, they take sides, or they take sides with various political parties. Belinda Wilson don't take no side. It don't matter who party in office. When it comes to her teachers, she go to war for them. And that's the kind of representation that we need in constituencies where our political representatives don't take sides, but they go to war for us regardless of which party is in office, regardless of whether it's my party or the other party. You understand what I'm saying to you? So if she wins, to God be all the glory. If she does not win, she would have done an awesome job during her tenure. Let's continue to pray for her and to pray for a good outcome of these elections. I do know one thing: the union will probably never get the kind of representation from anyone else that they got from Belinda Wilson. She is awesome at what she does. Okay, and qualified, very intelligent, very smart. She knows exactly what she's doing, and it's nothing like having someone who knows their job and knows it well. All right, let's move on. Everybody by now has seen the photos and videos from the F&M fair, and those photos and videos speak volumes, or they don't. I don't know if the turnout to the Red Splash that I attended last year and the situation with this incident, I don't know if it is because the F&M has not moved forward in this particular time with I don't know if it's because they have not moved forward with naming candidates, but I believe they need to name the candidates. I think that this is affecting people moving forward because people don't know what they're up against, they don't know what they're dealing with, and they're ready to see who is going to be representing them. The event was not well attended based on what I've seen. Now, maybe I didn't see everything, but I saw some drone photos, and those drone photos do not paint a very good picture of the F&M event. And there are some persons who want to how do I say, put the story out there, or fix the story, or don't want you to speak the truth. I can't do that. I have to tell you as it is. So yeah. Oh wow. Definitely we gotta pray for Annie Cheryl Boomer. That's my good auntie. She always has counseled me and give me guidance, as a matter of fact. So definitely. So somebody said BP still at the F&M flopped fair. Every constituency lost. A major flop for Pintard. Pintard left early, to shame. Yeah, this is a disaster. I don't know how they're going to get past this. I know that they will get past it, but how they get past it is another story. And I'm sure that Mr. Pintard may have something up his sleeve with respect to how to work on this. But yeah, right now it looks like the F&M is in trouble. And that's a sad and unfortunate thing. I'm in Eleuthera. B-Man says, yeah, I'm in Eleuthera. I'm not in Nassau. So yeah, I'm in Eleuthera, B-Man. So yeah, so that's we can only pray for the F&M and pray for Pintard. And I'll say this. Let me put it this way. F&Ms, and this is to all F&Ms now. And you may not like me for this, but I gotta tell you all this. I'm gonna say this to you. If you lose, you can't blame anybody for you losing. You cause yourself to lose. You chose not to support your people then. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you elect not to support your party leader, that is on you. That's not on the rest of the country. If there's a situation, if the PLP wins the next election, which they are on track to do if we keep these kind of things going on, then you can't blame nobody else. And I don't want to hear nobody out there, oh, the PLP doing this and the PLP doing that. Because here it is time for you to show up and you're not showing up. Now, maybe you might not show up here, but you may show up at the polls. Maybe something drastic may happen, whatever the case may be. All I'm saying is, this is not the time to be shamed to be an F&M. This is not the time to be playing around with your support for your party. And I admit, the party has to admit that they have not been doing all that they can to the benefit of their supporters. They have not done that. As a matter of fact, the F&M cannibalizes their supporters. The PLP, they will rub you blind, but they're going to make sure their supporters get a little piece. Not the F&M. not the FNM. They run all kind of racket. It is what it is. And so now they're waking up and getting a better understanding and making commitments to do better. And they put a young leader in place. And of course, there's the other side to that, because you have these old leaders who are determined to still remain in control of the party. So Michael still has a lot of work to do, because even though he has won the leadership, the fight continues within the party. FNMs need to stop being ashamed to be FNMs. That's the problem. Watch the PLPs. They'll wear their PLP shirt anywhere. The only reason why they don't wear them in the government office is because that's against general orders. But otherwise than that, they will wear them. And they are never ashamed of their party. Whether they win, lose, or draw, and it doesn't matter how they cook people, or whether they stick their middle finger up, or whether they committing crimes, it does not matter. They support their party. FNMs, what is your problem? COI learning the same thing too. They supporting their party. Come on, FNMs, why you all hiding? Hans say turnout. Turn at the FNM fair was an excellent turnout. My son, okay, my son, you can need to send me some pictures. My son, all is well, how you doing? Tell Erica I say good night. Send me some pictures that shows me the FNM turnout. Because, yeah, I seen some stuff online, and it's not looking good. But yeah, I'm going to say this to FNMs. You have no need to be ashamed to be FNMs. I don't know why you're hiding. I don't know why you burying yourself. I don't know why you ain't showing your face. I don't know what's going on. But y'all need to get it together. It is what it is. All right? All right, I got to move on. And it's already 11:53. Jesus Christ. I didn't mean to be up this late. All right, hold on. So, in March of this year, the PLP gave away $15 million in contracts. $15 million in contracts. Okay? When the PLP gave away their $15 million in contracts, there was one thing that was interesting about them giving away this $15 million in contracts in March of this year. So we ain't know what they gave away in April, and we ain't know what they gave away in May. But we do know in March they gave away $15 million in contracts. In the process of handing out these contracts, they did not allow the bidding process to take place. So these were $15 million in no bid contracts, meaning you did not have to bid. They call you and say, hey bro, here's this $1.7 million. Go move that drum from that side of the road and put it on the next side of the road. $15 million in contracts. $15 million. Not good. You understand what I'm saying to you? Not good. They gave away, and we ain't get none. $15 million. Huh? That's concerning. But it doesn't stop there. Caribbean Pavement Solutions, a subsidiary of Bahamas Striping, is doing the road work in Eleuthera. They're already getting $180 million for this road work. I think it's $183 million for this road work in Eleuthera. $180 million. They just signed another contract for $2.4 million to provide water to South Eleuthera. So they done gone from road work to now they can be digging the holes to provide water. Then they got another company with them, the Rowdy somebody from Long Island. But tell me which Eleuthera contractor could go in Long Island and get a job. And I ain't knocking Long Island. Listen, Long Island, take advantage of the opportunities as much as possible. But I'm saying, are you saying that no one here in Eleuthera is worthy enough to front a contract like how the little boy fronting Bahamas Striping and thief getting all the government money for these thieves? Huh? Make this make sense. The least you could do is use somebody in Eleuthera to front one contract. Because no contractor from Eleuthera could go to Long Island to say they're building in Long Island. Not a one. How you dishing out contracts in Eleuthera, but the people from Eleuthera ain't benefiting? You telling me the young man in Savannah Sound who have little heavy equipment can't dig holes on the side of the road, or you can't invest in him so that he can, and just like how you doing with this other company, invest in him so that he could go buy with machine and say, listen, I need you to get the machine, we can give you the money, and you go dig? Because who y'all want to help, y'all are helping. So why are you not